Thank you, William. This so let's okay. So we cruised in today. Let's start the show all over. We cruised in today. We weren't going to do a show today because I had a day. And now I'm exhausted, and I actually was about uh, well, I was asleep quite frankly, but I was somewhere around 4 o'clock. I was like, I'm exhausted and I need a nap. Uh, but am I going to do a show tonight about this? And I was like, yeah, all right, let's. So I set my alarm clock. I got up 6:20, finally got it together, and here I am. Uh, was about 40 minutes late for the whole thing. Um, I got some thoughts on this subway shooting thing. Is it terror? Yeah, it's terror, right? But is it foreign terrorists? I don't think so. Uh, Remember all the shit that we were talking about how it's not about overthrowing the government. It's sometimes it's about fuck you. You won't live here happily if I can't live here happily. From all the things that I heard about it, until I find out that this guy is some black Arab Muslim guy who pledged allegiance to ISIS, I'll be like, all right. But this could also easily be what's been going on in this country for the last 10 years. Is people sort of getting loose with the rules, right? Uh, just shooting up at work. Some people shooting at cops because fuck the cops, right? This could have been all a bundle of that. This sounds like someone plotted out something. He had a gas mask. He came prepared, right? He had a workman's jacket. So and I was thinking about this. I was like, if I saw a guy wearing a gas mask, if I saw a guy wearing a mask before a pandemic, I'd be like, I'm calling the cops on that. Right now, the pandemic has me so accustomed to masks. I'm like, could be a mugger, could be a bank robber, could just be somebody under COVID protocols. Then I heard he had a like if I saw somebody walking around with a breathing apparatus mask, that would still stand out to me. I'm like, all right, that's a heavy duty mask, but it was because it's not common. But if I saw somebody in a breathing apparatus mask and a workman's jacket, I wouldn't think anything about it. And I'm a suspicious motherfucker, right? I think I've always been suspicious, nosy, right? Always nosy, always curious, right? When I was a little boy, so I'm always interested in like the weird and quirky thing. Uh, so this is, you know, my hackles wouldn't have gone up. As a nosy busybody, my hackles wouldn't have gone up. Hold on, let's do this. Let's do this. Move this here. Let's do that. Cause for some reason it is hot. I told you it was going. I told you spring has sprung. It's gonna be 87 degrees all week. Um, it was balling ass hot today. I had to take off my. I'm trying to break this denim jacket in so it looks warm. Gets dirty, wash it a couple times, and it looks warm so I can paint it. It's too hot to wear the damn jacket. What's the weather outside?
It's currently partly cloudy and 75 degrees.
Oh, that's good. It was 81 day high today. It spritzed and it stopped and it spritzed, then it stopped and it spritzed. So, oh, Gilbert Gottfried died. I liked Gilbert Gottfried. All right. When it gets warm like this, I get weirder. I'm normally weird, but I do get weirder. So you might expect to see those ridiculous pants that I love uh, in the spring. The only problem with those pants, you can't really keep anything good in there, like a wallet. So now I got to go back to carrying my art bag. You know what? Let me tell you something. We're gonna finish talking about New York. But ever since I was about 16, I carried. My dad called it a purse. I'll show. It's not the same one, but it's a different one. I'll show it to you. So this is a nice one, all right? I always had like a bag. Always carried the same shit. Mind you, my so this bag, art pens, you know, uh, art pens, colored art pens, various tip nibs, art book. I've got one of these. I've got several of these bags, different types of black outliner. Right. So I'll wear one of these, and when I wear it, look at all the pins. I should get out and draw more. Excuse me. So I was thinking about those weird pants, but then you don't have any. Let's put this here for the time being. You don't have any. What's the word I'm looking for? That doesn't matter. Whew, boy, I gotta tell you, I almost should have put on a tank top. It is. I've got all the windows open. Uh, so yeah, I think it depends on more what the police say about this, but this strikes me as not purely. It's a terrorist attack. It strikes me weirdly as not purely a terrorist attack. Uh, wow, I am okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna change this shirt. Boy. All right. All right. This. Oh man, cut the light out, man. All right, this will do just fine. All right. All right. Sorry. So let's read some of these stories. Let's read some of these stories. Good lord. I was gonna make tea. Decided against it. I was like, that's gonna be too long. All right. I'm getting super comfortable. All right, let's hop into it. Um, he shot 10 random people. This dude, right, on a subway. That's not people that you hate at work. At least the people at work you know. And I hate Bob at the accountant, or I hate Jim who's at the loading dock, or you know what I mean. You know those names, even as I'm thinking it's stupid that you do it, and I get anger and violence and vengeance and all that. Random hatred of everybody is just so now this guy does one up of that, which is just random people on your commute. I wonder if they were all a certain type of people, well dressed in suits. Was it everybody? Did he only shoot whites? Did he only shoot men? Right, white men. Did he only shoot white women? Did he only X? You know. So yeah, let's wander through some of these stories just to sort of suss it out. We're also going to talk about this Russian chemical weapons thing because that is wonky AF. So before everybody's mad and in love with more war in the Ukraine, you might want to watch how you're being manipulated. Sunset Park, yeah, it's like 2 stops off of where I used to live. Um, I'm never going back to New York. It's just, it just keeps getting becoming more and more fucking dystopian. CNN, is it going to be a video or is it gonna, that says live? May have jam sources say, look, this is what's going to happen. Everything he touched, he's got these things that didn't go off, but you have to put them together, right? Even with these gloves, these latex gloves everybody's wearing, those will some of those will still imprint your finger if you hold something hard enough, right? Like I'm trying to like get something in. I've got those occasionally will still imprint your finger to your fingerprint. And a partial print is a partial print, baby. And if you're in the database, and the database is only for criminals, I'm in the database. It's not only for criminals. It's for anybody in the database. So you wanted that federal job, and you had to take your fingerprints for any number of federal gigs that don't carry a gun, and you only had it for 6 months, 6 years. You didn't even get the job, but you took the application and had to get fingerprinted and all this shit. Yeah, you're in the database. So the database runs uh, usually criminal people, but once, all right, buddy, you had a fight with your neighbor and you're both under arrest. I can stick you in the database and run you 1,000 times. And you go back to your banker life. You had that one fight at a bar because you were drunk. You're still in the database, right? That I search when I look for criminals. But normally, your friend who was like, "Oh, I'm not getting arrested," but we were, and he doesn't get arrested, but he works with you. He's in a database too. He's in you know the public citizens database, right? And that database, it's like if I ran your picture. I don't just run your criminal profile. If I run your picture, as a federal agent, I run your DMV picture, and that's everybody. That's everybody. So yeah, and you had to, and this is the fucking modern era. You have to walk to, and the walk to wherever you're going, you will pass by 10,000 Ring doorbell cameras in private hands, and at least five. That's there's 10,000. There's way more citizens with cameras than the government, and maybe 5,000 traffic lights. Uh, uh, there's one in every corner. Other security, government security cameras around sensitive locations that you walk through, right? And even if you're not looking at those, you're looking at the private cameras on banks and private property. I'm talking corporate property, not like the random guy on his ring bell camera, right? And everybody's got a camera, not a camera in their car, but everybody's got a camera on them. Everybody, I mean, your phone tracks you whether you know it or not. I used to complain about it. I don't even bother anymore, right? If I'm a man that the government wants to find, I'm carrying around a tracking device, and no one is ever within 3 feet from their phone unless their phone is in a comfortable place. Like, so I might leave it on the kitchen table, I might leave it in the bathroom, I might leave it in the living room, I might leave it in the bedroom. But it's in this area that I run and I control and I occupy, right? If it's not my area that I run and control and occupy, my mom's house, my brother's house, I'm not leaving my phone every place. Where's my phone? Oh, I think what? Oh, man. And plus, um, I know I was about to say I don't know who's at my brother's house, but I know who's at my brother's house. Then my niece will like to go, Uncle, your phone, right? But versus any other location, I'm not leaving it around in the restaurant. So you're always essentially within arm's length of your phone, right? And your arm is about, the average person's arm is about anywhere from 2.5 feet to like 3.5 feet, right? If you're shorter, if you're tall. But the average length is about 3 feet, about a yard. You're never more than a yard from your phone. Your phone can peg you within 5 feet. So the government has 2 feet clearance on you, right? If you went out to sea, and it's happened before, people called them, oh my God, we got swept out to sea. We don't know where we are. Help us help ourselves with 911. And they geolocate you through your phone. And they would roll up. And this was 20 years ago. And that was when it was within 20 feet of you, right? And I'm pretty sure it's better than 5 feet now. But I'm 3 feet now. But yeah. So this guy, if he went there with his cell phone in his back pocket, um, if he texts me or check the ball game, because the first thing they're going to do is run a net for all those towers that transmission went through. And this is the way this works. Everybody send a message, a billion people, they all bounce off towers, right? They all don't bounce off the same tower at the same time. My phone update, which I think it updates every 90 seconds or some shit, updates to the tower. If I'm driving down the road, my signal bounces from this tower, then it transfers to this tower at this location as I'm moving, then it translates to this tower, which may be 2 miles away or a mile away, or whatever the fuck the distance is, right? So once they get on him, they're gonna be able to breadcrumb him back to that morning of you know. So I don't think this guy gets away with it. I'm just curious, huh? I'm just curious as to his reasoning and rationale. But I think he was caught uh, when he immediately threw the smoke bomb. Right, the moment the world knew of an incident, he was caught, whether he knew it or not. Right. Sometimes you're caught in the planning. I'm gonna write my idea down. Right, and that's when you're caught because after they're on to you, they go, "We got this fingerprint impressions of what he did. We can just right, da, right, da, da, da." They go back to you where you came up with all this nasty bullshit versus going back to you and there's nothing there. You know what I mean? People are not. I mean, people. People are so ridiculous. Did they find his credit card? Did they find his credit card? Don't tell me that, William. That's hysterical. You leave your wallet. Yeah, sometimes I've talked about this show before about low hanging fruit. Sometimes people just will like I've been at hit and runs where people the license plate came off or like the bumper with the light. So yeah, you hit and ran, but you left a giant piece of how we can identify you back to you. Uh, and his gun jammed, biting on subway. It's like we're not letting up until we find this perpetrator. What else is he going to say? Right? Gosh darn it! And I always complain about all this SWAT gear because these guys always show up and stand around after the fucking incident. Right? It's not really needed. The worst thing that happened in New York City was 9/11. There was no fucking police fights, shootouts, or anything. This is just a flex on the people that you hate, which is the population. At least 10 Brooklyn subway riders were shot Tuesday by a man wearing a gas mask and green construction vest who tossed smoke canisters into the train car to distract the rush hour crowd before opening fire. This is in the morning, right? Rush hour is generally in New York is from 6:30 to about 8, right? Either have to be at work or at school by 8, right? Some people have to be at work at 6 in the morning, so it really starts at like 5. But most people get there, the fat hours are between 7 and 8 in the morning, right? You have to be at work at 9, you're not on the subway at 9. Rush hour, you know what? You're at work at 9. So yeah, rush hour is generally about between 5:30 to like 8:30. And another thing about this, I oh, I knew I went and got I had something to drink. I uh, have played countless video games. I have seen countless, well, maybe not countless. I don't watch them anymore. But I've hit my count. I've hit my limit. I've seen a damn good sight worth of violent movies set in real life, IRL versus I need a laser gun and a jetpack and a spaceship to get to X, right? No, I've seen a lot of stuff where just a guy loads his AR-15 and holds off the cops or doing right. But every now and then there's a really good idea. You go, huh, right? Um, and that's me going, that's a good idea. So I'm pretty sure the bad guys who all saw that Tony Montana movie, who thought it was a documentary in the '80s, who he was on everybody's lips, right? Tony Montana, right? There was a rapper named Tony Montana. It was like this. It was glorifying bad shit and shitty shit, and we already do that. We already do that. We already do that. Um, I think as we move forward, everybody plays, and you raise a whole bunch of people on dystopian bullshit, right? You raise a whole bunch of people on end of the world movies, Maze Runner, Hunger Games, right? All these little kids from now 25, who I'm not saying they glorify it, but they all have internalized it in different ways because not everybody will internalize the same thing the same way, right? Um, like I tell you one weird thing I found in a movie, I was like, huh, right? If that happens, all right, maybe I should know how to do that. There was this guy in a Denzel Washington movie, and he was finding cats and making oil, right? And I was like, huh, what do I know about food to make if somebody needed other than food, right? Could I make shit? So I went and got my book over there. I have a paranoia book. You want to see my paranoia book? Um, Several of the books I leave when the apocalypse comes around. It's just a bullshit how to survive in the woods book that I'm never gonna use because I'm never gonna get lost in the woods, right? And if I did get lost in the woods, I'm not gonna have this book with me because this book implies I went out to the woods, right? Uh, but I have this book just to make like, oh look, this is how you make fire. Oh, this is how you make a lean-to. Oh, this is how you do this. It's just a nice, goofy reference book, how to stay alive in the woods. A complete guide to food, shelter, and self-preservation anywhere. Brad Angrier, Angier, Angier, not Angrier, and Angier, Angier. A practical, readable, and potentially indispensable manual for anyone venturing into the great outdoors. Find food, navigate the wilderness, stay warm, make shelter, signal for help, treat wounds and illnesses, including a full color edible vegetable identification guide. I'm from Brooklyn. Why the fuck did I buy this? Because I used to hang out at a bookstore, and I loved that bookstore. And every now and then, something awesome and quirky would come through, and I would buy it. Uh, and this is it. This is one of those ultra cool. I could actually do some of these for the pod. Ultra cool, ultra quirkiness. But the bookstore is no longer in existence. Um, so it's goofy stuff like that, right? I got a knife around here somewhere. That's dull, right? I'm supposed to be a woodsman. Dull knife. So but the idea is that people stick that shit in their cerebrals, right? So whoever this was, his unhappiness culminated in this incident. Excuse me. I gotta I gotta cut this beard down. It's beginning to get big enough to hold food. Normally you just dab, but if you have to sop up moisture that you spill in your beard, time to cut that thing or join a biker group. And this is a ridiculous starter kit for a biker club. All right, let's get at it. At least 10 Brooklyn subway riders were shot Tuesday by a man wearing a gas mask and green construction vest who tossed smoke canisters into the train to distract the rush hour crowd before opening fire, officials and law enforcement sources said. Fire, officials and law enforcement said. That's a weird sentence. I'm sorry. A smoke canister entered the train car to distract the rush hour crowd before opening fire. Okay. Officials and law enforcement said the law enforcement are officials, though. If you say officials, you can include the law enforcement and the fire in with the politicians. Um, who wrote this? Jonathan Dienst, Miles Miller, Jennifer Millman, and Melissa Russo. Okay, Jonathan Dienst is an anchor in New York, right? He's been on my TV, well, that TV for a minute. I don't know. I think the others might be like Cub Reporters or whatever. April 6th, 6 seconds ago. April 12th, 2022, 6 seconds ago. I just clicked on this. So we got this story hot. All right, let's read the whole thing. Opening fire, officials and law enforcement sources said, oops, sorry. Let's see if I can get over here so I can stand the shot. Ignore those socks I just took off back there. At least another 19 strap hangers were hurt in the chaos that followed the shooting aboard the Manhattan bound N train at 36th Street and 4th Avenue station in Sunset Park around 8:30 a.m. The gunman was still on the loose 9 hours later. He ran past so many cameras running out of there, right? And then you have to get to a place where there are no cameras to change everything and so you can walk back into surveillance land. I don't know those places. I don't. I don't. I think those places are few and far between. Is it an alley? People have cameras in the alleys because private contractors hit cars or dump trucks or you know what I mean. I don't know where he thinks because one, yeah, I don't know. Fireworks, a hatchet, and ammo and gasoline recovered. He was doing a lot. A U-Haul van being investigated in Grays End, Brooklyn. So they think he drove to this, paid, and then ran out this because you can't run across and take another subway, can you? So that is bold because it's so hard to park in New York City. So you managed to find a parking spot, committed a crime, and come back to yeah. This whole thing is crazy. We're only Sean. Just read the whole thing. At least 19 strap hangers were hurt in the chaos that followed the shooting aboard the Manhattan-bound N train at 36th Street and 4th Avenue in Sunset Park, 8:30 a.m. The gunman was still on the loose 9 hours later. One source close to the investigation says his gun may have jammed, potentially preventing further loss of life. I'm trying to. Am I gonna do this? I'm gonna move. I hate moving this camera. I really does. I really does. I really do because the back is always wonky AF. Uh, all right. One source close to the investigation says his gun may have jammed, potentially preventing further loss of life. A weapon was recovered at the scene, as with a bag with smoke canisters and fireworks, lending further credence to the theory of a premeditated attack on New York City transit riders. Why would it not be premeditated? He threw canisters in. He had a plan. He had a mask. He had a vest. Yeah, you know what I mean? One source close to the investigator says his gun may have jammed, potentially preventing further loss of life. Okay. A senior law enforcement official says authorities have an image of the man they believed is a suspect and are working to identify him. They also found a U-Haul van on Kings Highway in Gravesend with Arizona plates that may be linked to the suspect. Here's what they know. Do we want to click on here's what they know? Law enforcement believe that. Okay, maybe we should click on the here's what they know before we continue this. Suspect, man who rented U-Haul linked to Brooklyn subway. Updated 1 minute ago. So they linked him. Okay. Yeah, it's his ass. He's over. He's over. He's over. He is done. He is a one and done. This was a wrap. It's in the modern era. You don't get away with this shit. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, that could have been any of my old friends, right? This one strikes me close to home. All right, and it's giant wads of fireworks that you have to go to Chinatown to buy. So the question now becomes, hey, when was the last time somebody sold? I can't even show you this. It's because the thing is wonky. When was the last time somebody sold a firework box that looked like a shoebox? Right? I haven't bought one of those recently. When was the last time you bought one? Someone's gonna go, oh yeah, I sell like 5 of those. Most of no, excuse me. They might go, oh, usually when I sold those, it's July 4th, right? But normally around the year, I may sell 3 or 4, and I sold one 2 days ago to this guy. He paid cash, or he bought it on tape, or he bought it on credit. And if he bought it on credit, you have his receipt, and they got him. If you paid cash, let me get a look at your security surveillance system, and you got him. The idea that you buy something so look, it's not like you went to the bomber dropped his ham sandwich, right? If you can go, well, there's a million McDonald's his ham sandwich. Well, if there's we have a place in here that only does ham for oddly enough. So if in this whole place, go there's only one place you can go to that place for a ham sandwich. But it's not as common as saying he dropped like this Subway sandwich where there's a million Subways, right? If it's something totally and completely unique that you had to you know go to a certain spot and get. I mean, come on, guys, y'all all watch. At this point in your life, you have all seen a straight ton of detective shows and cop shows on TV. You know how this plays out. Do you even need me here? um, leaves behind bag with fireworks. These fireworks are unique, and they have a serious name on them. Sen, Semisonic Wave. Anybody sold a firework named Semisonic Wave? Yeah. Oh wow. Don't we sell those? Right? Yeah. Hello. Not ring ring. Is there a reward? Yeah. This guy's caught. What is today? He's been out 9 hours. If this guy is not on a plane outside of the country by yet, he's stupid. Uh, I think he's got. I think he's already got. Don't know his name, or probably what he looks like, but I think he's got. And this U-Haul truck, you have to rent a U-Haul with ID, right? I just want to know why he did it. 5 other gunshot victims were said to be critically injured. Oh boy. Details on the nature of their wounds weren't immediately clear. No fatalities have been reported. It's not clear what kind of gun was used. It was a 9 millimeter. If it jammed, it was a 9 millimeter, or automatic weapon, right? It was not a revolver. Witnesses said the entire train car smelled of gasoline, and MTA sources described a similar smell too. Law enforcement sources later say a spray bottle of gasoline was found. A spray bottle of gasoline. Look, when 9/11 happened, there were people. cheering behind my house. I heard it in another neighborhood. My neighbor heard it. So I've always maintained that you should know who's in this country, especially after 9/11. And there's a lot of people who don't want to live in Syria and want to live here, but don't like the fact that women wear miniskirts or talk back to their husbands or can divorce you of their own free will, right? They don't like the politics of this country in general, but they don't want to go back to where they were from. And they're openly, I'm not saying they openly work against you. That's wrong. But some of them are not feeling you, right? Some of them are not feeling us, we Americans, for whatever we are. A lot of us Americans aren't feeling us Americans. Um, all right, so excuse me. The smoke cancel and hiring video from the train prompted early concerns about possible explosive device connected to the case. But NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell assured New Yorkers in early afternoon news conference that, oh, is this the lady police chief? NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell assured New Yorkers in early afternoon news conference that there are no known explosive devices on any subway train in the city at this time. You don't know that? Oh my God. That's not what you say. But okay. The smoke cancel and hiring video. Da, 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 da. Some of the 10 wounded were in the same train car as a suspect. Well, he wasn't shooting into the other train car. He was shooting into the train. It looked like the doors open. He threw his smoke thing, had this thing going. He stepped into the car, shot people, bop, 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 sprayed this thing, dropped his bag, and ran away. And I think when he ran, he just dropped everything. Because something tells me he could have had all that shit with him. Why bring it? This is the thing I think people think. They're going to shoot people. They're going to sit down, open the bag, take something out, find their lighter, and then light it. That whole thing, which should take you 15 seconds in this hyper awareness state, you might well be counting to 1,000 as you slowly fucking do it. And as you're doing it, it's not like people don't instantly know what you're up to. So as soon as you stop shooting and turn your back to open up something, you're gonna get hit by someone with something, right? So this seems like he planned out. This is all masturbation. He planned it out in his own violent bullshit head. Uh, this thing that one man cannot possibly complete all of, which tells me a couple of things. One, it tells me uh, he's an amateur, hasn't done this before, right? It's likely he doesn't have training, and it's likely he'll be easily grabbed. Some of the 10 wounded were in the same car as the suspect. Others were on the platform. So, yeah, that makes sense. You step in the car, you shoot people. The people on the platform, if they come there, you shoot them too, right? You clear out your zone. And if you had an M16, which you can't, everybody sees that coming to New York, he'd have had the zone for a whole lot longer and could have lit shit off. But maybe the thing was just pop the bag open, spray with gasoline, and drop lighter fluid on it. But that's not how gasoline works. Gasoline is not flammable. The flames of gasoline are flammable, right? Um, the spark that starts a fire if your gas cap is pouring out isn't the liquid, it's the fumes, right? So the fumes may catch the spark of whatever you touch, right? Because it's. So I think this sounds like he may want to spray. This is the perks of having a super society. Good job, America. Um, I'm putting this thing together for here in my freaking, oh my god, my little pod room, right? And watch, when this whole thing unravels, you're gonna find out that I'm not wrong about what's going on here. Some of the 10 wounded were in the same train car that stopped. Others were on the platform. The train was still moving when Sewell says he donned a gas mask through. So they're saying, let me read that. Some of the 10, some on the platform. Sewell says so others were on the platform. Authorities said the train was still moving when Sewell, the police commissioner, says he donned. Why don't you call him the commissioner? Well, her, the commissioner. When Sewell, the commissioner, says that's not a. Why am I quoting? She's the commissioner. Excuse me. When Sewell, comma, the commissioner, or just Commissioner Sewell, says he donned a gas mask, comma, threw a smoke canister on the subway car floor and started shooting. So he stepped into the train did this all, and this is the thing about New York City subway. You'll get in, everybody will sit down. You can get in there. Let's move these. I'm sick of staring at them. You can get in there as soon as you get in the subway, right? You can sit there. You can undo your pants. You can squat down in the middle and take a giant crap, and nobody is going to say shit to you. In the old days, you get your ass kicked. All these transplant New Yorkers will watch all kinds of fuckery and not aid. And I got into one. I'm like, you live here, you fucking idiot. You're supposed to be somebody's neighbor. But none of them have a neighborly quality, right? It's a problem. It's the problem. So I'm sure he sat down, zipped open the thing, started doing weird shit, lighting something. People are like, look at this crazy person. What is he? And then he started shooting people. You're always surrounded on the New York City subway. I don't know. I think people. I mean, he shot what 20 people. I think people are gonna die over this. I mean, close range, 9 millimeter. Not everybody's young and fit to be hit by it. He didn't hit everybody in the foot, did he? Were there any headshots? Were there any chest shots? Right, right. I mean, they're talking about like 5 people are in critical condition now because we're all different. Uh, this is this is a whole bunch of attempted murder, and yeah, the government. This is what's gonna happen. The NYPD is just gathering shit, but what's gonna happen is the feds are gonna come in and scoop this up and prosecute this case. Uh, the train stopped at the next station, so he got on from one station, prepped himself. As soon as the doors opened, he went ape shit haywire. The train stopped at the next station at 25th Street. Greenish smoke was seen spewing from the subway doors when the Manhattan bound in train stopped at the platform. So he didn't start shooting while he was there because then they would have stopped the train. Then he would have been stuck on the train with his victims in a tunnel, right? Green smoke was seen spewing from the subway doors when the Manhattan bound N train stopped at the platform. People were seen running and bleeding. In a total, 29 were hurt. Nearly 2 dozen victims not injured by gunfire were hurt in the crowd response to the chaos. You mean that's we call that stampeding, and that's no one's fault, right? People run at different speeds, and all these people have wonky footwear, especially the ladies. You can't run in those shoes. I just tell uh my women friends this. Back in the day, women used to go to work and they used to wear like trainers, what the sneakers, right? But I call them trainers. They were all white little Nike, right? So they have a business suit on top and then they'll have sneakers. Then they stopped doing that in the 80s. But after September 11th, getting people out of there were shoes every place. All only women's shoes. Men don't lose their shoes in this kind of shit. So when you need to run for your life, you're wearing stupid shoes, ladies. And now you need the average guy near you, and it is usually guys, right? But the ladies were doing it too, right? They were helping out older ladies, people were right. So everybody helps, but the idea is that this is help that we didn't need to do if you just would have wore proper foot gear. Always. I mean, they're your feet. Why would you mangle your feet? Always wear proper foot gear. All right. 29 were injured in response to the chaos. One strap hanger limped off the train, fell, and had to be helped away by fellow riders. He limped off the train, then he fell down, then he had to be helped away. Photos show people bleeding on the platform, some wounded, jumped onto another train to flee to the next station. Yeah. The injured were taken to at least 3 city hospitals: NYU Langone, 21 patients, though 11 have been released by mid afternoon. Maimonides, that's where I had my surgery, report at least 5 patients, while NYP, New York Presbyterian, Brooklyn Methodist. New York, NYP, Brooklyn Methodist. What is it? I thought New York Presbyterian slash Brooklyn. Did they let 2 hospitals merge? Oh, you fucking greedy fucking people. Patients were treated for conditions ranging from gunshot wounds to smoke inhalation to a fracture. At least one person had a non-trauma related injury. Non-trauma related. That might have been but it's an injury. Non-trauma related thing might be a heart attack, but that would be trauma related. And trauma is related injury. Oh, I don't know. What does that mean? Non-trauma related injury. Did you break something? But it wasn't from running. All right, all are expected to survive. Missing loved ones. Here's what to do. Um, okay. Okay. Oh, it's not finished yet. Police were combing through the subway. Do you know what it says? Okay. Police were. This is a weird section of this article. It looks like the story ends. Police were combing through subway tunnels based on some witnesses' reports he may have jumped to the tracks, but the gunman remained on the loose hours later. One law enforcement source says the victim ranged in age from teenagers to middle-aged people. You shot teenagers. Oh, okay. So this is the only good news I've heard so far. One law enforcement source said the victims range in age from teenagers to middle-aged people. That's a tight little grouping. Good, right? There were no 8 and 9 year olds, but there also were not any 80 and 90-year-olds, right? It seems like the people he got middle age is about 35. I want to say, he seems to have managed to get people who could best survive this incident. Um, Middle-aged people. NYU Langone said it had received 8 victims, 5 of them with either gunshot or shrapnel wounds, and 3 with smoke inhalation. Shrapnel wounds. So he did set off bombs. All were expected to survive. Police described the suspect shooter as a man about 5'5" and 170 pounds, and he was wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt in addition to a green vest. Cops believe he acted alone, and I believe he acted alone too. Cops believe he acted alone. A number of sources say a dispute may have unfolded on the train just before the gunfire broke out. Was okay? Was that first of all? This is the subway. That's not news. But was the dispute? Excuse me. Was the dispute on this subway train because of this? Just because you? I mean, cops believe he acted alone. A number of sources say a dispute may have unfolded on the train just before the gunfire broke out. May have. Was it a fucking dispute or not? It may have. What? A dispute may have a number of sources. So a bunch of people say something may have happened. A number of sources say a dispute may have unfolded on the train just before the gunfire broke out. A motive is under investigation. Right now, the all-out manhunt for the gunman is investigators' top priority. Police say, yeah, obviously. Um, yeah, is there another one? Yeah, there's more to it. Is this the? No, it's not. Who wrote this story? You know what it is? Whoever. It's segmented with like ads and news clips that don't look connected. Uh, wow. Green, 5'5", 170 pounds. Cops believe he acted alone. A number of sources say, all right. Experts say at this early stage, the shooting appears to have been an orchestrated attack. I agree. Though they caution that much could change rapidly as details develop. So you could say it could be not orchestrated, or it could be from lone gunmen to a whole bunch of people helped them out, right? Let's check the chat. Credit card found at the scene match card used to rent U-Haul. Yeah, it's they know who this is. Who doesn't report their credit card stolen? Give me a second. I have to blow my nose. Good lord, what is going on with me? Lord. I'm sorry. I am completely and truly sorry. I need to fix that chessboard. I need to sand it down and restain it. Uh, Sorry about that. Whew. I can breathe now. Doing a lot of dropping this phone. All right. So 36. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Here's where we're at. Experts say that the early say that the shooting appears to have been an orchestrated attack, though they caution that much could change rapidly as details develop. At this point, the shooting is not being investigated as an act of terrorism, officials say. It's not being investigated as an act of terrorism? Why? Look, yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be investigated as an act of terrorism. He terrorized people. The 36th Street station where the shooting happened is about 9,000 people. Happened has about 9,000 people pass through that stop on average weekdays. That's it, really? As of February 2022. Well, if every stop has about 9,000 people, that makes sense. Um, According to the MTA, it was 13,000. It was 13,000 before the pandemic, which plunged subway ridership citywide. No trains were stuck in between stations during the emergency, officials said. So this wild shit didn't slow up the train service. What? New York, you've come a long way, baby. Oh my gosh. Uh, no trains were stuck in between stations during the emergency, officials said. New Yorkers hate that. And I get it. I hated that too. You're just sitting in a subway train, not moving in a fucking subway. And then sometimes they'll leave you there for a minute and people will get agita. And I've been, most people have not, but I've been on the subway platform, on the subway platform, on the subway tracks. I've had to hop down in training, hop down from so the whole subway apparatus, you see the tracks, you can look down there. Uh, a subway train is all gears and engine, and that's about 5 feet high. And then on top of that sits a platform with a train on it where people can sit down, right? So when pulling into the station, everything looks like, but when you hop down there, and it's a hop, you gotta hop down like 4.5 feet to the train platform. And then there's shit down there that switches trains that will cut your leg off like scissors through paper. So you got to know what you're stepping on, where you're stepping, and watch what you're doing. Not to mention a trillion miles of fucking high voltage electricity, right? So hopping on the tracks to get to the next station, unless you know what you're doing, is fraught with risk. Uh, yeah. The NYPD wants New York to avoid the area to expect emergency vehicles and delays. Power was shut off on the end of the R line from 59th Street to Atlantic Avenue early. Atlantic Avenue early, and most trains were not running between Manhattan and Brooklyn by early afternoon. By early afternoon. Then it says, get the latest transit updates from your key sources. Which sounds to me like the end of the sentence, but no, there's three more paragraphs. The NYPD is leading the investigation. Federal investigators with ATF and HSI are also on the scene. ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm, and HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. Uh, Homeland Security, HSI. Uh, Trust me, the federal look, the New York City Police Department is unique as is a unique beast, right? It is a local police department, but it sits at the nexus of the world, right? So that police department does a lot of like federal government shit, right? It is the beast, got the giant budget, it's got all the toys and bells and whistles, all the super excellent investigators, right? Um, and usually uh, locals have first jurisdiction, unless it's a big thing. Um, and that's the same with New York. But since New York handles so much shit, when you become a federal agent, a FBI guy, you want to work in New York versus, oh, I'm an FBI guy in Dubuque, right? I think you want the big cities. You want New York, you want Miami. For drug smuggling, it's active, right? You want LA. Um, so when big shit goes down there, they're always itching to sort of slide in as close to it as possible. Not to take it, but to slide in as close as possible because names get made, right? All the important senators and shit. So yeah, somebody's gonna make their bones off this case as this guy does about 1 trillion years in jail. Remember, actually, you probably don't. There's a ton of people who did dumb shit like this, got arrested, and you've long since forgotten who they were, and they're not even 5 years into their 1,000 year sentence. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at it. It's like you acting out will just get you put in permanent timeout, and then the world will move past you. Even your allies have other shit to do, right? NYPD is leading the investigation. Federal agents and federal investigators with the ATF and HSI are also on the scene, obviously. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been briefed on the situation, a spokesman said, and pleaded with New Yorkers to avoid the area to assist in the investigation. Now, okay, I guess this is the last four part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the last 9 paragraphs. Uh, President Joe Biden was briefed on the situation and later said at a press conference that he and First Lady Joe Biden are praying for those injured and all those all those touched by the trauma. End quote. He also thanks first responders. I always thank first responders. He also thanks first responders as well as civilians who jumped in to help those in need right away. White House senior staff are in touch with Adams and Sewell to offer federal assistance as needed. A spokesperson said, "What is your federal assistance? The fucking FBI, the ATF is there. What are you gonna do? We need more paper clips, Joe Biden. Idiot. Okay. We're going to continue to stay in close contact with New York authorities as well as New York authorities as we learn more about the situation over the coming hours and days." Biden said, "We're not letting up until we found out. We are not letting up until we find out and we find the perpetrator." Okay. Law enforcement officials from Philadelphia to Jersey and Newark are stepping up security at transit hubs as a precaution. That's just smart. Uh, if you have any information about the incident at 36th Street Station, Brooklyn, please contact us immediately. 911 for emergencies, critical information, crime stoppers hotline for non-emergency info that consists of this is apparently, I think this looks like a bit from their Twitter, NYPD tips at Twitter. Yeah, okay. I know. I was like, how did you put that in like it was part of the story? All right. Local schools are placed under shelter-in-place orders, meaning nobody goes into your school or no one comes out. Hey, let it be. Good to see you. Good to see you. Uh, Local schools are placed under shelter-in-place orders, as the Department of Education spokesperson said. It is not clear how many were affected, but the chancellor said most of the orders have been lifted by mid-afternoon. Schools in close proximity to the shooting scenes were still shut down, and all students were safe. David Banks said. See, that's that good old-fashioned American paranoia. Something happens way over here. All these people have to release a statement that everybody's safe because it's coming to get you too. What? Nobody. What? It wasn't a school incident. You don't have to freak everybody out about you know what I mean? And that's essentially what it is. Parents should contact their individual schools for details. Didn't happen at school, people. Uh, and the children that it happened to, this is sort of not a school related. This is a private incident. This is between the city, the subway, their parents, not the school system. They were on their way to school, unless they were at school and school let them out. And then you got questions about why were my kids out of. If this happened at 11:30 and there was a whole bunch of kids shot on this train, I'd be like, why were they out of school again? But this whole extra paranoia about the schools you didn't need. That's extra. That's for you because we care, right? Just when you think there's nothing more to be paranoid and wigged out about, we got you. Schools. NYPD and school safety will provide extra support for safe transitions, for safe transition home and what? NYPD and school safety will provide extra support for a safe transition home, and principals will be communicating with parents regarding specifics. Banks said MTA shuttle buses will also be available for students who need transport to subway stations. The rest of the areas will be, well, that just makes sense. Okay, and that's the end of this story. Uh, let's check the update, which was a minute ago, but it's not. When we hit it, it was a minute ago. Now it's 24 minutes ago. All right. Oh, they got his picture. Yeah. Police said Frank James, 62, is the person of interest in the shooting, as they believed he is the renter of the U-Haul van connected to the shooting. Yeah. Yep. He looks unhappy. The suspect gunman is not yet in police custody and wore a gas mask. And yeah, a manhunt for alleged gunman who opened fire on a Brooklyn subway car, shooting 10 people and sending dozens running in terror, was still underway hours after the train pulled into a Sunset Park station during rush hour Tuesday morning. The gunman's identity has not been confirmed, but investigators are combing through videos and speaking to witnesses to piece together clues to help track him down. Police described the suspected shooter as a man about 5'5". Ooh, brother, I feel you. And 170 pounds. They were They were for a U-Haul van with Arizona license plates, Alabama Leroy 31408. Or it could be Adam Lima 31408. That, by the way, New York City's code for that is very different than the military code for that. And I always thought it was a cop code, like Alpha Bravo Echo, right? That's what the military use when you're calling shit in. Um, it's different. Every police station is different. Don't make any sense. Don't even really make any sense to learn it. And if you're gonna learn it, you might as well learn the real one, which is the military one. Um, that was a nice side jab, guys. uh, so they here's this picture, and I can't put the picture up because my system is wonky. So yeah, let's read about Mr. Frank James. Wasn't Frank James the name of one of Jesse James's brothers, right? Frank and Jesse James. The gunman identified a man allegedly gunman. Police identified. Okay, maybe linked to the suspect according to law enforcement. And found a van that matched the description just before 5 p.m. on Kings Highway in Gravesend. See, this is what happens. Something wild happens. Every random loose car gets checked and everything is run. Something tells me if he had went and moved this car, uh, because the what's suspicious about it is Arizona license plates in Grayson. This this is on near Red Hook. Anybody know Brooklyn? Um, it's right by the water. They're shipped. It used to be old piers. Sailors would come through. Right, Red Hook. It's a So I wonder if he's from New York because I wouldn't have made that mistake. Huh? Okay. Well, and then it's got foreign plates on it, and then you run it. Is it stolen? Why did this car stand out? If I'm walking by and I know something bad happened, look for anything suspicious. I think U-Haul with Arizona plates. I'm like, people do move to New York all the time, but that is suspicious. Since this thing just happened, let's check it out, right? So uh, I would run it just because even if it's in a legit parking spot, something big just happened. I would run it just for that reason. Otherwise, it probably would go unnoticed. Police were investigating whether it had been the same van believed to be connected to the suspected gunman. As law enforcement believed, hold it. I wonder why did the van come to their attention though? Police were investigating whether it was the same van believed to be connected to the suspected gunman. As law enforcement believed that they had identified the man who rented the U-Haul, sources told NBC News. The man was identified as Frank James, a 62-year-old with ties to Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, who has been labeled a person of interest. Huh. Police said that Frank James is a person of interest. Blah, 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 blah. The area around the van was cordoned off by law enforcement who were waiting for bomb technicians to inspect the vehicle. The unoccupied van matched the description and license plate number of the vehicle being sought in connection with the shooting. Oh, so someone saw him leave in it, right? Where he ran and hopped in a U-Haul van. Everybody, whatever U-Haul van within this area, everybody on patrol go and look for. And okay, yeah, places are often out of state for U-Haul type rentals. Yeah, yeah. You're right. Because usually these rentals are in state. You move from Brooklyn to Queens or Brooklyn to the Bronx. Here, Virginia, you move from Virginia Beach to Norfolk, right? You're moving within states. But every now and then, you got to move across country, right? And then you'll get Arizona. And it probably didn't go from Arizona to New York. Probably went from Arizona to Florida. Then hung around in Florida for a while till it went up to Georgia. And hung around Georgia for a while. To went to Jersey, right? And then it ended up in New York. Uh, So I can see why he's not from Arizona, but he's got family in Jersey. We just read it. Did it say Jersey? Do I have Jersey in my head? He's got family in not Wisconsin, Minneapolis. Did it? Uh, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. All right, you're going to be the man for the next 10 days until the next story breaks, and then after that, we'll check back in with you for your conviction. And then we'll forget about you completely until the next idiot does something stupid. And that is the way you play the game, boys and girls. The area around the van was cordoned off by law enforcement who are waiting for a bomb technician to inspect the vehicle. The unoccupied van matched the description and license plate number of the vehicle being sought in connection with the shooting. A law enforcement official said, let's go down here. James was said to have past criminal records in those states. So he's got criminal records in both the states that he's got. Dude, moving to a new state is for excuse me, it's for a new start. Whew, man. Um, James was said to have a past criminal record in those states as well as ties to New York. Law enforcement officials said that the criminal history, including making terrorist threats, but that's everybody. Fuck you, I'll blow your house up. That's a terrorist threat. It used to just be a threat, right? Now everything's a terrorist threat. It's like, hey, baby, you want to sleep with me for $20? That used to be prostitution or soliciting, and that'll get you 6 months or whatever. Now it's fucking, what do they call it? Uh, Human trafficking. We can't fix the problem. We'll put the weight of a penalty so dark and deep on it that you'll have to stay away from it. Even as yeah, the whole environment is goofy to me. James was said to have a past criminal record in those states as well as ties to New York. Ba, 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 ba. Criminal history, including making terrorist threats. Yeah, that's a threat. But this is not a threat. But investigators said the threats were similar to ones commonly made by those who are emotionally disturbed. Okay. It appears that the man drove the rental van to New York from Pennsylvania on Monday, based on license plate reader data and other info. Investigators obtained a video from 5 a.m. Tuesday near where the van was found parked, appearing to show a man matching the description of the subway attacker emerging from the van. He's a nut bar. He's a nut bar. He's a dangerous nut bar, but he's a nut bar. And like I said, there's cameras everywhere. Once you make yourself known that you said they just filed the bird comes back to, oh, before he dripped up, he went to the local 7-Eleven and got a coffee, a pumpkin latte. And then he had it, and then he sat here and he ate it while he wrote it. Look, we can see him here writing something in his diary. And the last entry of his diary after we found him shot to pieces by the cops is, a poem or some shit, right? They can follow you all back to, because everything is on video. So, is he a nut bar crazy person who did this, or is he a terrorist? He's got a history of emotional. Look, does he have a history of emotionally disturbed, or terrorist threats? Investigators said the threats were similar to ones commonly made by those who are emotionally disturbed. Right. You know what crazy people also say? Jesus shit, religious stuff. Right. It appears that the man drove the rental van to New York City from Pennsylvania on Monday, based on license plate reading data and other info. Sources say investigator obtained video from 5 a.m. Tuesday near where the van was found parked, appearing to show a man matching the description of the subway attacker emerging from the van. NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell said He wore a gas mask, green construction mask, and gray hooded sweatshirt when he opened fire at the 36th Street and 4th Avenue Station, Sunset Park, around 8:30 a.m. A senior law enforcement officer said they have image of the man they believe to be the suspect, but are still waiting to identify him. MTA's surveillance cameras at the subway station was not working at the time of the shooting. I have no faith in New York City's MTA. Uh, Everybody makes a ton of money, and the subway is just a mess. And now the cameras don't work. Every woman in that city should be outraged. Experts say at this early stage, the shooting appears to have been an orchestrated attack, though the caution that much could change rapidly as details develop. Wow, all these cameras don't work. This guy got shot in the knee, shot in the hand. This guy got shot in the leg, in the face. Woo! He looked like he shot a lot of people in the legs. Yeah, all these three guys got leg wounds. He shot a lot of people. Why would you do that? Maybe he's mentally. But something tells me when they find him, he's gonna have a Jesus manifesto of why he did it. There are currently no known explosive devices on the subway trains, and this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism at this time. Yeah, it looks like they're investigating it as an act of crazy. Um, which look, if he was a black guy hating white people, it would be terrorism, right? If it was a Catholic hating Jews, it'd be terrorism. This looks like the way they're saying he's a mental nut bar. Like two, I shouldn't say mental nut bar, but the last two officers who were assassinated in New York City, shot, were sitting in a police patrol car. That guy came up from Delaware, right? And they were like, oh, and of course the NYPD used it. Oh, crime, crime, crime. We're delicate flowers. We need more stuff. All those dangerous, dangerous blacks, blacks, blacks. That was the subtext of it. Turns out the guy was mentally unhinged and just they will fixate and they fixate on the cops because cops are in the news for killing all these people, right? Unlawful shootings and all this shit. And so one random crazy person fixates on it, comes here and kills two people sitting in a patrol car. And the PBA, it was like it was one of the best things that ever happened to them. Fucking apparently, right? I can take it now, and you notice how quiet the PBA has been since the mayor is now black. You just keep seeing goofy shit that no one changes, and it does not instill confidence in this system. At least from this young man, young man. There are currently no known explosives. Can't believe he acted alone. A motive is under investigation, though right now an all out manhunt for the government is the investigators' top priority. It's been a while since there was an all out manhunt. Everybody's looking for you. Where you going? Your family's not going to take you in. It's aiding after the fact, right? Uh, every If you're using your credit card, they will just follow you. This was the last place he used it, right? He's buying groceries here. Anybody seen this guy? Well, oh yeah, he's renting a room over there, right? Can't use a credit card. How much cash do you have on you to get it right? um, yeah, he's already got, unless he jumped in the lake and drowned himself. Cops believe he acted alone. The motives on the way, though. Right now, the all-out manhunt for the government is investigators' top priority. In a statement, U-Haul said that they have been alerted to law enforcement search for their rental van and said that they are working closely with everybody's always working closely with authorities, to ensure that they have any and all available information to meet their needs. Police were combing through subway tunnels based on some witness reports. He may have jumped to the track, but gun remained on the loose at 5 p.m. Law enforcement officials said a gun was recovered at the scene along with bags of smoke canisters and fireworks. A hatchet? Who you getting into a hand and hand? You're 60 fucking 5. You're getting into hand to hand combat with hatchets? See what I mean about movies and how it influences you? A hatchet, 2 extra clips of ammo, and a spray bottle of gasoline, right, were also found. Law enforcement sources said once the gunman was subdued may have jammed, preventing worse tragedy. So maybe he was just gonna throw a light the bag on fire and have the bag burn and fire all the fireworks. That sounds like a fucking crazy plan. Police investigating the U-Haul van found Tuesday evening in Brooklyn called the bomb technician. Right, we read all of this already. These are just new pictures. Van was linked to the shooter. Did not say if anything was in found. 5 of the victims were taken to the hospital. FDN said responded to call smoke. Okay, yeah, okay. The FDNY says they responded to a call for smoke at the station and found multiple gunshot victims. No details were immediately available on the undetonated devices. So the FDNY does not do bombs. Bombs is a crime. The cops do crime. The FDNY is not showing up and undoing bombs, uh, which is good. Um, but the FDNY used to do a lot of shit. They do a lot less now. Like they will cut off your electrical power if there was like, but now Con Ed does that. If they even call them Con Ed anymore. Photos posted on social media show people bloodied on the platform, and citizens app footage showed a heavy law enforcement presence on the scene. Yeah. Some of the wounded jumped onto tracks to flee to the next station. The NYPD warned the area to expect emergency vehicles and delays. Power was shut off on the NR line. Yeah, we read that. Major delays, 59th Street to Atlantic Avenue. Major delays were reported for the B, the D, the N. I'm sorry, the B, the D, the F, the N, the Q, and the R. That went. Ooh, let's stop this. That went rather fast, and let's hit that. All right. Uh, N and R lines from 59th Street to Atlantic Avenue, and major delays were reported on the B, D, F, N, Q, and R lines. W services were suspended. I don't think I've ever been on the W train. Lived in that city for fucking 50 years. The W train. All right. Local schools were placed under shelter in place orders. Right. We read under emergency leading investigation. Federal. Da, 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 da. Right. Okay. Yeah. They know what he looks like. They know his name. He's essentially a got duck. Uh. Wow. My nose. I'm gonna have to toot my honker one more time. What is this? Oh. Okay, so do we want to talk about? Do we want to end this stream with one topic, which was this, which was fine, or do we want to wander around the Russian chemical weapons attack for at least the next 15 minutes? Uh, that whole thing sounds wonky as fuck to me, and I'm glad I'm not the only one because it also sounds wonky to a lot of other people. No impop, no impop. What? No impop M. All right, retype that. I'm gonna honk my honker, and I'll be back in a second. Uh, no impop M. All right. Woo-wee. Here come the mosquitoes. 'Tis the season for giant mosquitoes. It's la 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 la. Mosquito, mosquito, mosquito. All right. Oh, you didn't retype it. No, man. Ooh, free game. Okay. What, do we want to move this? Oh yeah, okay. You know, I guess we'll do it now. It's asking me to claim a game, and I'm like, right now, try for free. I want to try it for free. Can I keep it? Rogue Legacy. And the vent. Yeah, you know what? I love operator error. Zoink. All right. I'm just getting games. I must have like 700 games if I have one. And the thing now is, ooh, the thing now is I have to play these games now that I'm a streamer, right? Ooh, vampires. Okay, everybody just calm down. We're slightly off track of what we're supposed to be doing here. Uh, ooh, a Rogue Legacy. I have played so many video games, so many first person shooters, so many gun this, so many murder that. Somewhere along the way, it was I just got to the point where I was just kind of like I can't even anymore. I can't even anymore with this. Too much violence. Free now, free now, free now. Right? But we all go through our phases. Operator error. So let's talk about this chemical weapons thing because America keeps saying and remind you I said before we don't do shit when people drop chemicals on others. We say we are, and then we don't. And I'm glad for that. But in this scenario, we definitely should not. No one needs to start a third world war, even as I think we can wipe the floor with the both of them. No one needs it. Uh, and hey, I've been wrong before, right? And I'm the last person to be asking for military. Oh yeah, we could be this guy could be. I think it, but ooh, Montserrat Cabal's 89th birthday. Who the hell is that? What are we doing here? Russian chemical attack. So a couple of things going on here. I'm always going on about you better watch all this Ukrainian shit because they're a super racist country, right? They have a far right militia, and you have these black people going over there to fight in the Ukraine. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And now they're over there fighting for the Ukraine. Uh, okay. Ukraine war deeply concerned that report of Mariupol chemical attack. Team Biden scrambled to respond to the claims of chemical attack. Did Russia really use chemical attack in the Ukraine? In the Ukraine? Oh, somebody has questions. Let's read this. The Guardian. Uh, did Russia? I'm gonna have to switch this thing tomorrow so I can do this thing correctly. Did Russia really use chemical weapons in Ukraine? Experts are skeptical. Okay, good. As long as it's not me. This is what you had here. You had a canister, like a drone. Drones are big in this war because it's tech, right? So you had a drone um, deliver this chemical stuff, and people got eye and throat and lung and throat and eye and nose issues, respiratory issues delivered by one drone to one place, and then the people who said we were hit by chemicals were the neo-Nazi faction of this country. So this looks like, hey, if we attack ourselves with chemical weapons, the West will come in and rescue our country for us because they're stupid and we're sinister. Hey, you know what I mean? These are the people you're giving $18 billion to. Are they gonna give these back after this war is over if they do win? The fuckery, man. You should not be dying for this kind of like half-assed sort of approach to global governance, quite frankly. Um, and why would we do anything about chemical weapons here? We didn't do anything about chemical weapons in Syria under Assad. We didn't do anything about chemical weapons in any of the African conflicts, right? With Yemen, uh, they didn't do anything with the chemical weapons in Gaza with Israel. It's a lot of talk about chemical weapons, chemical weapons. It's the buzzword for the military industrial complex. Like you care. Like if they said chemical weapons, you'd be like, oh my god, I'm calling my congressman. Why are we not doing anything about the right? Before it was all this war was to defend democracy from communism, right? And that got 40 years and a giant bunch of people murdered off, made a bunch of smaller group rich, and now it's this chemical weapons. Nobody ever does anything about chemical weapons. Why are we going to start third world war over chemical weapons if we never do anything about chemical weapons? You might as well declare jaywalking your red line, right? You're going to do something about whatever you want to do about. Just have a fucking good excuse. Um, and I don't want to go to war with Russia as and Joe Biden as a fucking president. We'll be eating borscht by Christmas. Oh, guy's completely incompetent for his gig. Completely incompetent. All right, I guess that's it for us. It's 8:20. We have done a pretty decent read of the last story, right? So when new stuff pops up about it, it wasn't terrorists, it wasn't Black Lives Matter. It just seems to be some random crazy person with his own issue who came from 2 states away to do this thing in the center of the world, quite frankly. Uh, did Russia really use chemical weapons in Ukraine? Experts are skeptical. Analysis. Little evidence thus far that civilians in Mariupol had fallen ill because of chemical attack. Okay, let's just read. How long is this article? It's not really long, but seriously. Like, here's the story. All these racists moved to Ukraine because they're racist. And then this whole thing happened. Now there's a story about British man fighting in Ukraine forced to surrender. And you're like, oh, turns out he lived there 5 years. He left Britain to live there, to be amongst the. And then he got caught up in, right? All right. Uh, Fight your wars, baby. Fly your flag. I fly one. My loyalties are obvious and declared often on this pod. We know how it rolls. I'm a loyalist. I'm a loyalty monger, right? It's the thing I like to do. I like to be loyal. Um, and that's what a lot of me arguing and I feel people have been disloyal to me for my beliefs, right? So I'm loyal to the police department, but they should really fix that shit with all these loose killings of random people, right? I'm loyal to the government, but they should really fix this shit about racism and unfairness. I'm loyal to the state, but the state should really back the right wars and the right people and not be doing fuckery, right? Be on the side of like oppression and apartheid and greed merchants and warmongers, right? Uh, Good sweet Jesus, I am sweating up a storm. All the windows are open. I told you yesterday, spring has sprung, right? Whew. Too bad. I should have been fit by now, but nope. I'm just pudgy. All right. Am I out of frame now? I am sort of out of frame. All right. So I guess that's it. What information has emerged? Let's hit the bullet points. Let's read the first 4 paragraphs and then just hit the bullet points of this story because we're not going to do the whole story. Uh, Ukraine forces hold up in the besieged city of Mariupol announced late Monday that Russians had used a poisonous substance of unknown origin, but in the following 24 hours, evidence to corroborate this with chemical attack had proved harder to find. So what they did, it sounded, yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It sounded like they poisoned a handful of people and was like, hey, chemical attack, right? If if the government was going to poison because they've done it before. It's you're gonna have bodies. You're gonna have dead people. And you're gonna right. It won't be. And it looks like okay, we're gonna poison you guys. You'll be fine. Oh my eye, and I got nose. I've been poisoned. Right. That's what it seems like. That's not how poisoning people with chemical weapons work. Right. People are dead. People. Yeah. So, and that's why they're like what. Mm. So, a video from the Azov Battalion, a Ukrainian nationalist group linked to far right and the group behind the initial social media report was released on Tuesday. And it filmed three victims who did not appear seriously harmed in an incident that appeared to be limited in scope. Yeah, so before you kick off the Third World War, maybe you should make sure it's legit. Is all I'm saying. Um, all these people flying Ukrainian flags, all these fucking Americans flying you. It pisses me off. It really does. It shows how they wear their disloyalty. All right, boys and girls, that is it for us. I am out. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-wee. This show has been an hour and a half uh, in the telling, and like I want to say a half an hour in the making. Oh boy, I'm gonna thank everybody for coming through. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Oh, I managed to cut it off. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, didn't really. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Will I be here Thursday? I probably won't be here Thursday. I might not be here Wednesday. But if I'm not here Wednesday, I'll be here Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If I'm not here, if I'm not here, you know what? I'll see you the next time I see you. You know I'm here 6 days a week. Uh, come on down and get some weirdness. I have been watching. What am it's become a morbid hobby. I've been watching these people, quite frankly, just get killed. Just get killed in these videos, man. Um, they're just doing nothing but wiping out tanks and killing soldiers, and people in the comments are like, "Yay, rah!" And I'm like, every one of these, I'm just kind of like, "Rrr." You look, yeah, you don't want foreign invaders in your country. Obviously not. They deserve what they get when they get there. Uh, but still, you know how this is going, and a lot of them are like, "We're not being supplied. We want to go home. How the fuck do we get out of this situation?" And yeah, apparently the way to get out is either complete and total insubordination or take your chances with the Ukrainians. Good boy. Good lord. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Now I gotta go get tweezers. I will see you. All right, hold on. I didn't get to say goodbye yet. All right. So I love these Altoid tins. Um, I watched a YouTube video. Thank you, William. I appreciate you. I watched a YouTube video where this guy took these tins, he hammered them down. Oh, there you go. Uh, he hammered them down. There you go. That'll do it. This was sort of undone. He hammered them down and made like suits of armor. He had, I love these. It's like Adam Savage, right? These guys who make things online. There you go. Now I can close it. Who make things online, and the idea that he took all the die off, right? He got back down to 10. It is metal. Um, hammered it out, molded it, and it was little. It wasn't that small, but it was maybe like 12 inches. He used more than one of them, obviously. And I was like, I'm over here in my head going, I buy a lot of shit that I waste, and I'm not happy about it. I wish I could somehow, like everybody's a vegan, they won't eat meat or this, something with a face. They won't eat cows with a hat or whatever the fuck it is. I'm like, I would like to not have anything with plastic. Can I get that? No. No. Can I be, what would that even be? Uh, Plastician? I don't even know. Can I get 4 other people to start and do this? But you know what you're just gonna find? Every year, more and more plastic from everything. Like I just threw away the wrapping of this, right? That's plastic. To the heavier, like bulky stuff, right? At least this plastic is reusable. But when it's gone after the 10,000 uses, what happens to it? Versus the plastic that we get from everything. I buy singles. These are one and dones. It comes with a joint. You smoke the joint. You do what with that? I roll my own, so I use them. But 10 million people are just buying 10 of those and then throw those into the trash into the. I'm like, surely the same idiots who do the climate change shit and the same energy of the people who told you smoking was fine for 100 years. This is the same shit. The plastic people, right? None of us should be using plastic. Glass is infinitely recyclable. I don't know. I'm thinking about starting my man's club. I'm thinking about getting a. I'm about to say OnlyFans. Think about getting a GoFundMe and seeing if I can raise, I don't know what, 15 grand to start like a social group, and be crazy with it. And we would actually do social shit. They probably wouldn't, but yeah. But then I'm a partier too, right? So after social shit, there'd be a giant barbecue. We all play music, live music, uh, and encourage people to play music. The world is miserable, man. You have to, and that's the thing. If I try and be happy by myself, I just look like a crazy person. And you can't be happy in an environment where everything is shit. You look like a crazy person, right? But in order to let some of the go off of you, the god dang it off of you, sometimes that's just done over a beer with your homie. And then you go, man, I really needed just a chill day. Yeah, man, so did I, right? And then you have a beer, then you get a little respite from whatever the fuckery was that was messing with you. And I think, yeah, people are finding that less and less, right? That a beer with your boys, or I don't want to say shopping with your girls, shopping, right? It's got to be something else. But whatever that energy, which it shouldn't be spending money, right? It should be a little something the energy of sitting down with somebody in a comfortable environment, de-stress. I think a lot of people don't have that. All right, that's it for me. Please like and subscribe. Uh, I'll be back. I want to say tomorrow, but don't hold me to it. Uh, my weird April continues. I'm sorry. Uh, my weird April continues. We'll see in the next one. The next one's likely tomorrow. If not, it'll definitely be the day after. We're here 6 days a week. Come on through and get some enlightenment. We're handing it out by the busload. All right, everyone, thank you for coming through. William, let it be. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming through the chat. All the watchers, what did the internet call them? Lurkers, which I always thought was weird, but I just call them watchers. Thanks for watching, and hope you come back. And I really hope you like and subscribe, grow the tribe, and we'll see how tomorrow's situation go. Anybody want to take a bet when they're gonna catch this guy? Because I mean, it hasn't even been 24 hours, and they know who did it. Hasn't been 24 hours? No, it happened this morning. It hasn't been 24 hours, and they know who did it. So I'm assuming if he's not caught tonight, because it's also weird if you're walking around at 3 in the morning, right? uh, if he's crazy, crazy people never kill themselves, do they? They kill other people and themselves, I guess, and during it, but they don't run off and then kill themselves later. They kill themselves at the scene. If I got my energy right. Huh? What is this? Ooh wee. All right. People are people, so why should it be that you and I should get along so awfully? Say no to war, boys and girls. All right. I will see you in the next one. Next one, like I said, is tomorrow. Peace out. Everyone take care of yourself. That has to be the 12th time I say goodbye. So that's got to be it. Uh, have a strong day. Have a strong night. Have a strong tomorrow. See you in the next one. Peace.